Okay, so real quick before this video starts. First thing, viewer discretion is advised. This video does contain sensitive material that some people may find disturbing. And I just want to put a quick disclaimer out there first that I don't mean any offence or to cause any upset or anything with this video. This is just me reading this case to you guys and informing you guys on a murder case it's a big one, guys. That's all I can say is it's a big one. But first thing I want to do, first thing I best do is intro the video. So, hey guys, Coyote here, and today we are back with crime story time. Now this time we have got the Christina Grimmie case. Now this one is gonna hit hard for a few people on this platform, with it being a fellow YouTuber. Now, before we get into this, I just want to say, if you guys would like to, I do urge you guys to go to the Christina Grimmie Foundation. I will leave a link in the description. I will also put it on my Twitter, and if I remember to, I will put the link on screen at the end of the video. But I'm going to show you guys the homepage to the foundation here, and yeah, I urge you guys to go check it out. It's got a lot of information. I'm sure you can donate on here. You can donate.
Yeah, you can buy merchandise.
You can donate and buy merchandise and things like that. But yeah, I urge you guys to go check that out. I will, once again, I'll put it in the description and I will put it on my Twitter. Anyway, now let's get into the actual case. It is the night of June 10th, 2016 in Orlando, Florida. It is a Friday evening and the atmosphere is warm and pleasant. The Plaza Live Theatre, one of Orlando's oldest venues, is particularly busy tonight with several concerts and events. So once again guys, I still don't have a full setup, so I'm just going to have to show you guys the pictures like this. One of these acts was 22-year-old Christina Grimmie, who was opening for the band Before You Exit. Around 300 people were in attendance. Now this was at the actual event this picture was taken. It says here, Christina on the night June 10th, 2016. Although she wasn't a household name, Christina was on the cusp of a very promising career in the music industry. In 2014, she was featured on season 6 of the hit talent show The Voice, where she impressed many of the judges and placed 3rd overall. She was also very popular on social media, having a YouTube channel with 3.5 million subscribers and a Twitter account with nearly 950,000 followers. And actually this has got a link to her YouTube channel, this app. But here's her YouTube channel, guys. She actually was a really talented artist, so I do urge you guys to check out her channel as well. That will also be in the description. So you guys go check it out. There's a lot of great music on there. So go and show that channel some support, because I think everything from that channel goes to a family now, doesn't it?
It goes towards the foundation in her family.
Yeah, so it goes to the foundation, her family and things like that. So
In 4 years, like on the still releasing new music she never released.
yeah, and this like unreleased music getting put on there as well. So yeah. Anyway, the concert was scheduled to begin at 7:30 PM that evening, and she was also hosting a meet and greet afterwards, where fans could get a chance to purchase merchandise and meet Christina. I'm getting tongue-tied already. Purchase merchandise. Why was that such a tongue twister for me? Jesus. The event started off as normal, with Christina performing many of her most popular songs, which were covers of popular singers such as Miley Cyrus and David Guetta. Little did she know that the man who would end her life was only a few yards away from her. The young man, who was dressed in a plaid flannel shirt, was wearing black baseball cap, stood against the wall at the back of the crowd. So here we have a picture of the crowd, and you can see if the bloody thing would focus, you can see in the back there.
We can always like find a way to put these in. I told you.
Yeah, I'll find a way to do it. But here we are, guys. I've zoomed in. There is a man who ended up killing her at the end of the night. Although he looked out of place, given that most of Christina's fans were young women, his presence raised no serious alarm as he kept to himself. Since there weren't a ton of people at the event, security was fairly minimum. There were security guards, but they were unarmed, and the only attendee screenings conducted were bag checks. You see, right, this is where I'm going to make a point here, with what I think should be done at most concerts, in fact at any concert, especially with meet and greets afterwards, no matter how small the artist is. I think there should be a system in place where people get pat downs. Whether it's...
Or they should at least like have like a thing you walk through as you enter the building.
Yeah, like a metal detector.
Yeah.
Well, what I think should be done is...
Especially in America, like guns in that are easy to get hold of.
Yeah, but also some guns are synthetic, so they're plastic.
So an X-ray then.
Yeah, well, what I think should be done is like... There should be, if it's only one security guard, a single file line. If there's multiple, obviously have multiple rows of people. But one person comes, they get pat down, they go in, meet the artist. If there's any weapons found on them, I mean, they could be patting the next person down while that first one's meeting someone. If there's any weapons, they should be took off them. Made sure the magazines are out and no rounds are in the weapon. And they should be given to the person on the exit door to give to the person who's coming out, and then give the weapons back unloaded, so that then if they start loading the gun in the building, they can be tackled before they get a chance to do anything. The weapon should be loaded outside.
Or just dump an empty person if they've got a weapon.
Yeah, but I mean, in America you have right to bear arms. It's a right. So the weapon should be took off them, and if given back to them as leave. I mean, for them to actually carry a weapon outside, they need to have what's a EDC license. So the license to carry. That should be shown. If they don't have the EDC license, the weapon should be took off them and reported. So it's a system that should be put in place at every concert, no matter how small or how big the artist is. So anyway, sorry I went on a little rant there. Let's continue with the video. After the show, the man got in line between throngs of fans who were awaiting to meet the young singer. Throngs? What's all the words throngs? The meet and greet area. I don't think you can see that. Yeah. My phone's going mental at the minute. Right. Here's more pictures of the meet and greet area. So that's where everything afterwards took place. After a short wait, it's his turn. The man awkwardly paused in front of Christina. She did what she always did when dealt with awkward fans. She opened her arms to hug him in order to break the ice. As soon as she did, the man quickly drew a black 9mm Glock 19 pistol and fired 5 shots at her from close range. 3 of the shots hit Christina, instantly knocking her to the floor. Christina's older brother and best friend Marcus Grimmie was working the merchandise table nearby. He was a road manager and saw the whole thing. Well, how hard it must have been for her brother to witness that.
Yeah.
He got up from the table screaming and lunged at the man, tackling him to the ground. As Marcus struggled with the gunman dropped his weapon and Marcus tore his flannel shirt. Oh damn. This allowed the gunman to break free and take several steps backwards. He drew a Glock 26 9mm from his waistband and shot himself in the left side of the head, instantly killing him. I mean, the thing with Glock 26s is they are a small compact gun. So you see now the Glock 17 I've got is a bigger, decent sized pistol.
Yeah.
The 26 is that. So it's a small pistol. Police and EMS arrived at the scene quickly, but Christina was pronounced dead at the scene. One of the bullets hit her in the right side of the head, lodging in the back of it. This wound, in and of itself, would have been fatal. Now here's a picture of, it's not a picture, it's a diagram of what the shot looked like. You can't see that from there, can you? One moment, guys. You see, but with some guns in America, they're so small and compact. Like, you could get a, oh, what's it called now? I can't remember the name of it. It's, that's it, the card ones, where it's like the size of a...
now an exit wound then?
No. It lodged it back
So
right.
she had a hole there?
Yeah. And no exit wound because it lodged in a skull. You could get little guns like the 22s. 22s are still powerful enough to go into a human skull and kill them. You could get a 22 that is literally the size of a credit card. You could get a 26 caliber. Is it 26 or 23 caliber? I can't think. A small caliber gun that's got multiple rounds in it. You get 2mm, which are really, really tiny bullets. Obviously, I don't think a 2mm is enough to kill someone. But you can get these small, compact guns that literally fit in your pocket.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why these need to do searches, not just bag searches. Need to do actual pat downs. However, the 2 wounds she suffered to the torso were also just as deadly. One entered the right side of her chest, shattering her ribs and perforating her right lung and heart before lodging in her right back. The third shot entered the top of her left shoulder, fracturing some additional ribs and puncturing and lodging in her left lung. Here's another diagram. So in these shots, with them being 9mm, if it was, let's say, 45 or a 50 AE, they would have ripped straight through her, no worries.
She was only tiny, bless her.
Yeah, with it only being a 9, it's enough to enter, unless you get a shot like in the actual stomach, or where there's no bones, the bullets are going to tear right through you. But because the hitting bone are obviously lodging in there, making it a bit harder to survive, because with the bullets being in your head, even if they're FMJ, they're still going to be pumping like toxins, like lead poisoning and shit into your body, which makes it harder to survive.
Yeah. Even if she like there was like that slim chance she did survive, she'd have been severely brain damaged.
Yeah. Either way, this would have been the end of her career.
Yeah.
And it was such a like promising career she had ahead of herself as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to be honest here, guys. I was never a follower of Christina Grimmie. I didn't really follow her as such. The name sounded a bit familiar to me when you said it, but I had no idea who she actually was. Unlike Beth, she was a fan and a follower of Christina, so that's why I'm like listening in to what she's saying, because it's knowledge, a lot more knowledge than what I've got on the case. But anyway, let's continue. Doctors later determined she likely died instantly. The event made national news, briefly. The next evening, 49 people would be killed in the Portal nightclub in Orlando, making the deadliest American mass shooting at the time. You see, what it was is, to me, what I thought, right, this is what I mean, right, this is going to be a sensitive thing, what I'm going to say here, right, so I don't mean any offence or upset here, guys. I really don't. It was a tragic thing that happened, but what I think is this nightclub attack got more publicity than Christina's case. Now, I kind of think Christina's case should have got more light and more publicity than it did. Because to me, I don't think it was up enough, because I didn't hear anything about it on the news or anything. And like back then I was like always watching the news. Like every morning I'd be with my granddad and I'd be watching the news.
On late at night.
And I didn't see anything about it, but this nightclub shooting was everywhere.
Christina Grimmie one was on late at night in the UK.
Yeah, what I think is it should have got more publicity. It should have been on the news in the morning as well. But to me,
Yeah.
it didn't see enough light. It was kind of brushed over briefly if it was mentioned. It wasn't gone into detail and said exactly what happened.
It was never in detail, like a great amount of detail.
That's what I think should happen. Sorry guys, you get the cat's collar. Right. It should have got more light. Now I don't mean any upset.
Oh, I didn't know she was shot 5 times. I only thought like 3 times she was shot.
Like I said, I don't mean any upset. Both like incidents were tragic. Obviously, they're both big things that happen. So I don't mean any hate or upset. Like, anyway, let's continue before I dig myself out of a hole I can't get out of.
I think at the end of the day, like, there's a lot I tried to do in the world, and something needs to be changed when it comes to like the laws to do with guns.
Yeah.
And like, especially for venues and things like that. But for the Grimmie family, like, all I wish, like, and like hope for is that there were no suffering or anything when it came to a death. And that it'll pretty much instant because they've been through a lot.
Yeah.
Already. And like, I have a lot of respect, and like there are like some people that you can look up to because of how much they've been through. Like, it's such a tragic thing. Like, her brother witnessed it. It was like her best friend.
Yeah.
Her older brother. Like, as an older sibling, they wanted to protect the younger one.
Oh yeah.
But you want him to succeed and to try.
I know that. Yeah. I know that. Being an older brother myself, I obviously have a little brother. So yeah.
Like, they were best friends, as close as anything like could be. And it's found a positive light in all this by the foundation, and because Christina wasn't a negative person, they've kind of used that in a sense of like, she wasn't negative about things, so she'd want us to carry on, use her legacy to carry on spreading a positive message.
Yeah.
And doing good of what her life was.
Yeah.
It was only like a short time she was here. She was only here for 22 years. And like that short 22 years, she made a massive impact on so many people.
Yeah.
On so many different like charities and things, and everybody that met her, I don't think they'll ever forget her because of how big a personality we were. She was like one of them personalities and souls that were older than the years she'd been here for.
Yeah. Yeah, that was very enlightening.
Yeah. I don't know how much your camera picked up of that.
Hopefully it picked most of that up, because this camera does have a good microphone. But anyway, the scale and timing of that event essentially overrode the coverage of the Grimmie shooting, making it an event people only remember vaguely. See, that's what I'm saying. The nightclub shooting took priority.
Yeah.
However, almost 3 years later, investigators still haven't concluded exactly what drove the gunman, identified as Kevin James Lobel, 27, travel 100 miles from his home just to murder the up-and-coming artist. Now this is almost 3 years later. It's actually been 4.
4 years.
Yeah, it's been 4 years this year.
Because it was 2016.
2016, yeah, so it's been 4 years. The investigation has, however, provided plenty of evidence that can lead us to infer why and how these two totally different people's worlds collided on that fateful night. In the weeks leading up to the shooting, Christina and her brother Marcus had been on a tour with the band Before You Exit. The two shared a tour bus with the band and travelled around the country. The Orlando concert was scheduled to be one of the last stops in their tour. Even though Marcus was nowhere as famous as his sister, he was still a big part of her career.
Yeah, he'd always been there, like, supporting him in a lot of her videos, because he was her guitarist.
Yeah.
She could play guitar. but it weren't never her thing. She was on a keyboard. And I think he also helped co-write some of her stuff. But he also helped manage her things.
Yeah.
He's the one who travelled with her a lot as she got older. Because when she was younger, it was her dad who travelled with her a lot. Because her mum couldn't with her having all of her treatments.
Yeah.
For bowel cancer and stuff. But yeah, he's been a big part of her YouTube career because he's in quite a few of her videos, and it's been a big part of her music career.
Yeah.
Because he was always performing on stage with her.
Yeah. So I just knocked my camera. Okay, on this particular tour, he was tagging along to play guitar during Christina's act, and also work as her road manager. The two were described as an inseparable pair, and both even had a matching Player 1 and 2 video game tattoos on their arms. Although Christina was mainly known for her singing talent, she was also very well known in the gaming and streaming world.
Yeah, he used to love playing video games. Hers Zelda, she wanted to be Zelda.
She was especially known for playing Nintendo's Legend of Zelda series and uploading gameplay and commentary videos to her YouTube channel, Zelda X Love 64. Christina's parents, Bud and Tina, had both been aware of Christina's musical talent for several years. According to them, she showed an interest in music at a young age, and also, when she was a baby, she wouldn't talk, but she la, Tina Grimmie said.
She was singing before she could talk.
Yeah.
There was an interview, I remember this, not long after she died, with her mum. And mum would say, I think it's actually the memorial thing, the live stream. She was bathing her when she was younger. She was a baby, and all she'd do was sit in the bath and sing. Yeah.
Oh. Unfortunately, Tina would be diagnosed with breast cancer in the early 2010s and would later pass away in 2018.
Strong woman.
As Christina got older, she initially was shy, but her talents... She was shy about her talents, but eventually in 2009 Marcus helped her out of her shell by convincing her to start uploading music on YouTube. As mentioned earlier, most of Christina's music was covers of famous artists, however this didn't stop her from racking up hundreds of thousands of views on YouTube. This early success inspired her with enough confidence to audition for NBC's singing competition The Voice. Her first audition for the judges was a cover of Miley Cyrus's hit song Wrecking Ball, which earned universal praise from all 4 judges. Now there's a video on here I can't play because it's a cover of the song.
You can probably put a snippet in it in the actual video.
I don't know because my videos have got copyrighted for a couple of seconds clips.
Well, you can also put a link to it and
Yeah, there'll probably be a link to that in the description as well, so I'm going to be putting a lot of links in the description today, guys. She would later go on to place 3rd overall and became close with singer-songwriter and actor Adam Levine. Her acclaimed performance on The Voice would later help put her on the track to mainstream stardom and also helped grow her social media presence immensely, attracting thousands of new fans.
Also, a little fact put in on there. When she was 13, she went on tour with Justin Bieber and Selena Gomez, and she was quite close to Selena Gomez.
Oh.
Well, because our career took off, she did a lot of work with Selena Gomez.
Well, Kevin Lobo became one of them. Kevin, aged 27, was similar to Christina in that they were both avid video game fans and were natural introverts. However, besides that, they were two total opposites. His only friend, Corey Dennington, later would go on to say that Kevin grew up in a semi-abusive household in St. Petersburg, Florida. Here's a picture on the map of that aforesaid area. Anyway, Kevin told Corey that his mum would sometimes assault him and his siblings. She once beat him with a frying pan and also threw a plate at his head. She's also alleged to have once broken Kevin's brother's arm. Kevin would later become free of this abuse by his mother after she died at the family home in 2010. The medical examiner would later rule that Kevin's mum had passed away from aspirin overdose and that the manner of death was accidental. Later though, according to Dennington, Kevin had told him that he felt guilty over her death since he had encouraged her to OD, telling her to go on and do it.
Sure.
Yeah, shit indeed. Right, there's that. I'll let you guys read that. I ain't reading all that.
What's that?
It's what an aspirin overdose can cause, the symptoms of it.
Just give the gist of it.
Restlessness, double vision, dizziness, confusion, abnormally excited mood, hallucinations, drowsiness, loss of consciousness, a fever, uncontrollable shaking and seizures, burning throat pain, vomiting, pain, and decreased urination. Despite their contentious relationship, the death of Kevin's mother would only lead to more personal issues with Kevin's life. Kevin's dad, Paul Lobel, later started dating a new woman that Kevin did not get along with. Over the course of 2 years, police called the Lobel home 6 times, all involving disputes between Kevin and his father's girlfriend. Most of the time the fights involved alcohol, domestic violence. Kevin even went as far as filing 2 separate domestic violence injunctions against her due to the conflict. According to other family members, Kevin didn't have any discernible mental issues, although he did live like a hermit, spending most of his time in his room engrossed in his computer. He also didn't like light and kept the windows of his bedroom covered with aluminium foil and blackout curtains. Yeah, he like legit tinfoil his pissing window. He also sometimes wore earplugs because he had an aversion to loud noises. Other than staying home, Kevin didn't do much other than his job, which was a part-time job at a local Best Buy. So there's the actual Best Buy he worked at. Okay, now this one's going on longer than the last crime story time. Although Kevin was a good worker, he was described as awkward with people, and management moved him around to different departments over the nearly 10 years that he worked there. Eventually, he was assigned to work for the Geek Squad department in order to minimise awkward interactions with customers. So the Geek Squad is an actual section in Best Buy, apparently. Obviously being from England, not a bloody clue.
Computers.
Yeah, I think, I don't know. Kevin attended St. Petersburg College but dropped out during his junior year in 2010, around the time his mother died. He allegedly dropped out of school because he neglected his studies due to his obsession with the hugely popular World of Warcraft fantasy game. For most of his young adult life, Kevin never showed interest in romance. He never had a girlfriend or significant other and never expressed an interest in girls at all. That changed once he discovered Christina's YouTube channel. He saw her singing on YouTube in 2015 and slowly fell in love with her. To him, she seemed like the perfect soulmate for him. They both loved video games and were seen as introverted. After a couple of months of watching, he became obsessed with her to the point that he made the decision to change his appearance to become more desirable to her. He got LASIK eye surgery to correct his vision and got his teeth whitened. He also got hair plugs to fix his hairline. Sorry guys, my camera just stopped recording for some reason, but yeah. He got LASIK eye surgery to correct his vision and got his teeth whitened. He also got hair plugs to fix his hairline and went on a vegan diet, losing 50 pounds in the process. Additionally, he also changed his religious beliefs. Christina was a devout Christian who often mentioned her faith on her YouTube channel. Although Kevin was self-proclaimed atheist, he later told Dennington that Christina's religious views changed him and helped him to see the world in a different way, and that if there's a God, he has seen it in her. By the spring of 2016, Dennington began to realise that his friend's obsession with the singer wasn't healthy, and he shared his concerns with their manager at Best Buy. Okay, right, this is another quick thing that I ain't reading it all of. It's the big four. Delusion, vengefulness, lonerism, and need for control. So this is about stalking, guys. The manager told Dennington that since Kevin wasn't acting out at work, there was nothing he could do. As summer approached, Kevin's obsession worsened. Dennington tried to point out to Kevin that it was illogical to think that there would be a relationship with Grimmie, especially given that Kevin had never met her in person. Upon hearing this, Kevin got angry and threatened to end their friendship, despite being friends for over 10 years. He also stated that he planned to meet her in person sometime and that she was his soulmate. Kevin also confessed to Dennington that Kevin also confessed to Dennington that he constantly monitored Christina's social media accounts. Despite not having any social media himself beforehand, he created a Facebook account for the sole purpose of stalking her. Yeah, there's Facebook.
It happens.
On June 5th, 10 days before the show, Kevin had his last day at work. Dennington would recall that Kevin was acting odd and sad. He returned some borrowed magazines that Dennington and then later some magazines to Dennington and then later pulled him aside and told him, "I love you, brother." He also mentioned that he was tired and ready to ascend. Although this was alarming to Dennington, he wasn't totally sure what Kevin meant, since Kevin had never threatened him or talked of harming himself. Dennington was also not aware of some of the purchases Kevin had made in the past 2 weeks. He bought a $15 ticket to Christina's Orlando show. There's his actual ticket to the show. And he then purchased 2 guns. First was a Glock 26 9mm. A week later purchased a Glock 19 9mm handgun. So I think this is the 19. No, it's the 26. There's the 26. And that's the 19. In addition to the 2 guns, he also purchased a 5-inch hunting knife and sheath and gun holster, 3 magazines, 75 rounds of Hornady critical duty and critical defense bullets. And there's the sheaths and holsters. In addition to the 2 guns and knife, Kevin also packed some toiletries, his headphones, earplugs and a sleeping mask. Before he set off on his mission, Kevin removed the hard drive from his computer and hid it. Yeah, hard drive's been took out of that computer. So he's got something on there. The last person to see Kevin was his father, Paul, who saw Kevin get into the cab on June 9th, the day before the shooting. Kevin did not say goodbye and did not say where he was going. Later that same day, he arrived at the Orlando Marriott and paid the cab driver $200 for the 100-mile drive. The driver would describe Kevin as quiet and weird. So what's that? I think that's the hotel. That night, Kevin had stayed in and ordered around $20 of room service food. Okay, there's the hotel room there on and that one. The next day, Kevin prepared for the concert. He placed most of his belongings in a drawstring bag, which then placed in the hotel safe under the TV in his room. He clipped 2 gun holsters onto the inside back of his jeans. Additionally, he also strapped the hunting knife to his left ankle under his jeans and loaded up his guns. Okay, so those are... the bottom ones are... no, they're both regular lead, they're not Full Metal Jacket. So, that's the reason the bullets stopped in her, because they're not Full Metal Jacket, they're not going to rip through. They're going to hit and they're just going to soften. He left the hotel for the last time around 6 PM that night, carrying his weapons, his wallet, hotel key and concert ticket. What's that, the hotel key card? Yeah, his hotel key card. On his way over to the Plaza Live, he stopped at an Old Navy store and purchased a black baseball cap and a water bottle. Once he arrived, he easily passed through security unchecked and passed a sign banning guns from the premises. He wasn't carrying a bag, so security saw no need to search him. There's a sign saying concealed weapons are banned on these premises. Inside the venue, Kevin picked a spot near the back and kept to himself while the concert started. Okay, I don't know what this is. Okay, so there's a video. I'm not going to show the audio in case there's any copyright audio. But that's pretty much showing the, you know, the crowd and everything at the concert. Anyway, as mentioned earlier, once the show was over, Kevin proceeded over to the meet and greet, where he then shot Christina multiple times. According to Marcus, who wrestled with the 5'3" Kevin, I looked and she was on the floor, and I just remember screaming bloody murder and jumping on him, then hitting him. Okay, so that's where it all went down. What's that noise? Mouse, I thought it was a pigeon. Kevin managed to escape Marcus's grip and quickly shot himself in the head before law enforcement could arrive.
Guys, I've got a lot of respect for Marcus.
Yeah. Okay, so on the ground there, you can just see bullet casings. Now there's a picture of one of the bullet casings. The aftermath was a blur to Marcus, who later underwent therapy to deal with the trauma of what he just witnessed. It was like a nightmare. Everyone was gone. I'm the only one there and sitting on the floor with 2 bodies, he said. "56-year-old Mark McDonough, who was a doctor and father of 3 members of Before You Exit, came over to see what the commotion was and why the concert goers were fleeing in masses. He first approached Kevin, who was slumped against the wall. He had no pulse. McDonough then ran over to Christina and checked her vitals. She was agonal breathing and barely had a pulse. Her pulse stopped and McDonough attempted CPR, but it was too late. Christina was dead by the time emergency crews arrived and attempted to transport her. One of the things Marcus remembers was a phone call he received right after the shooting. It was from Bud Grimmie, their father. He was calling Marcus to see how everything was going at the show. Marcus, who was in shock, delivered the devastating news to his dad. After the shooting, the Grimmie family met with Orlando police detectives. Understandably, they wanted answers. Despite a lengthy investigation, investigators never determined a concrete motive. Investigators were unable to recover his hard drive and couldn't access his cell phone due to it having a password. But the thing that was readily apparent was that Kevin was in dire need of mental health care. Friends and family said, in hindsight, there were many warning signs that something was wrong with Kevin. It's the things you see in hindsight, like how secluded he lived, the lack of social skills, the people close to him didn't realise it was anything violent, but he had an unhealthy and abnormal obsession with her, OPD Detective Michael Moreski said. Paul Lobel talked with detectives and told them he never heard his son mention Christina, nor did he have any idea that Kevin had purchased several firearms. Now, there's a note left on the family's door saying, "Deepest sorrow for lost to the family, friends and fans of the very talented, loving Christina Grimmie. No other comments." According to Marcus Grimmie, the shooting was not preventable. I mean, it's definitely hard and I have my moments, but I know there's nothing that could have prevented this from happening, he said. Okay, this is going to be a long video, is all I can say right now. Because we're still not done, guys. After her death, Christina's family released most of her music that was unreleased at the time of her death. Some of these songs and music videos went on to chart highly on the billboards and iTunes in the following months. Marcus later found a silver lining in the aftermath of his sister's death and remarked, "I feel very blessed because tragedies happen every day and people are left with nothing. Christina left behind videos, pictures, records, so we have so much to hold on to, and it helps us cope because it feels like she's still here with us." A few weeks after the shooting, the investigation was officially closed due to the death of the offender. And that's it, guys. So yeah, that was a long one. And yeah, once again, I don't mean any disrespect with anything that's been said in this video, but I still urge you guys to go and check out the Christina Grimmie Foundation and go and follow her YouTube channel and things like that, because once again, there's unreleased stuff, and anything that's made through the foundation and her YouTube goes obviously to her family and to charities. So
yeah, that goes towards helping people what are going through breast cancer or have been through gun violence themselves.
Yeah. So it goes to a good cause, guys. So go and check those out. Yeah, this was a dark case and a very emotional case to all involved. But yeah. Anyway, once again, guys, let me know in the comments what you think of this case and if there's any points that you guys want to add. I do read all the comments, so go leave some comments and I'll probably get back to you guys in the comments, obviously. But anyway, that's it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked the video, leave a like, don't forget to subscribe if you're not subscribed already, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, guys.